guys about ready?
Yeah.
Are we ready?
I think so.
Alright, give me a second.
Tyler's certainly ready.
I don't have a hat. I'm the only one without a hat.
You go with the game, man.
Yeah, dude, seriously, step up your hat game already.
Jeez. Alright.
This is highly unprofessional.
Here's a sweet shirt. Is it
Yes, we're not Emilio Clark in Game of Thrones. We're going to put our product placement cups away.
So you don't... Or behind you, but don't forget it, because I could sell it to a bunch of kids tomorrow. Yeah. Make a lot of money, trust me.
Yeah,
We
switch.
like to confiscate them all the time. So,
You like my back scratcher?
is that your back scratch?
Doesn't seem
How's it
very
work?
effective.
I was just gonna say, it's not very long or anything like that. All right.
Unbendable.
She has a very well-defined butt crack.
She does.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's
There's like
she's got a gifted booty.
Were you looking for
And
that?
they-
Something I missed it.
no, it's pretty curved off.
It's pretty
What I
blatant.
find interesting is that she's got hands and fingers that wrap around the blade, but it's all one piece of wood.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Better?
So it's like they're just carved in.
By the way, I was
Oh, yeah,
recording.
yeah, I see.
That was recorded.
Oh, great.
Maybe that helps.
We're talking about a
Well, they say
little
that
plastic
your blades
models.
is supposed to be an
but
extension of your arm.
awesome.
This dryad took it a little bit further than that. Actually made an
Gentlemen,
extension of their
when
arm.
you're ready,
I'm not ready yet.
Like spurs.
Yeah, right.
then hurry up.
We're ready.
We have Azog.
Welcome everybody. Oh wait, is this camera on?
It's too
Look for
bright.
the red light, Chris.
I'm over here. Oh.
Follow the white light. Is that one?
Welcome everybody to another edition of Great Stories Comic Shop Talk. We've
Yes.
got my panel of cohorts here. We got Tyler Hamill in the middle.
That's me.
We got Crank File Extraordinaire, Ken Lee.
Extraordinaire. Wow.
Yeah.
Extraordinaire. You're getting
Yeah,
elevated.
you got promoted.
Elevated. Yep. And so
Before
here
you were
we
just a
are.
writer. Now you're an
Yeah.
extraordinaire.
I'm ready extraordinaire.
What is that? Does it come with perks?
Yeah. What do I get? Oh, it's...
You should know. You were probably an extraordinaire at some point.
I don't know about that.
Anyway, we'll talk about the perks of all that title stuff later.
Okay,
But
got it.
we have other titles to talk about today. Right?
Oh, that
That's
was a good
nice.
transition. Nice little segue there. That was clever.
There we go. Hey, we'll let you kick it off since you just got the promotion to extraordinaire.
Yeah.
You should
Yeah,
probably
I feel
lead
like
this.
So no perks, but you have like more.
Yeah.
You have more work that you have to
Yeah,
do now.
nothing else. Just now have to carry more
Sadly,
responsibility.
Exactly.
sadly, it is just more responsibility. Yeah, no additional.
I'd like
no
to
pay raise.
decline my title of extraordinaire and.
Pass it off to somebody else.
Yeah.
How
I
does
don't need-
aficionado sound?
Yeah. Okay. I like that. That
Aficionado.
sounds nice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sounds
think-
French.
I think you still have to kick off the comic talk, though. I think that's still
What a rip.
part of the job.
So what are we going to talk about this week, guys?
What do we have?
Well, we got a few things to talk about. It
Yeah.
was actually a slow week of, well, it was kind of a slow month for most
Yeah.
comics outside of a few really big titles. The one that really dominated this last month was John Hickman's return to X-Men in the crossover of House of X and Powers of X. And I think
Right.
this is a great place to start because it's just so crazy popular how this book has started off with the fan reception. It's been incredible. And Chris, I know your story's been sold out of like every issue of this book.
Yeah,
the exception of, like, that.
House of X and the most recent
Yeah,
one we
have,
still
like,
had copies
we have
of.
one
But
copy.
yep, Powers of X and House of X have just flown off the shelves for us. We can't keep them on the shelf, and I haven't seen the level of excitement with an X book in a long time. It's almost like it's had a resurgence.
It was one of the things that Hickman had mentioned when he was doing his conferences, when they're talking about this book ahead of time, when he said, look, if you take anything away from it, you're going to take away that it's got nice, good, deep storytelling, it's got great art, but it's going to make the X-Men matter again. And I think he's achieved that spectacularly.
Yeah.
This is the book that everyone's talking about, is House of X and Power of X. Now, the two books are tie-ins. You got House of X, which is more of like the main storyline,
Right.
which is focusing on the present-day X-Men. And then you have the Powers of X, which is kind of giving you behind the scenes details about like what's going on, that's kind of turning the wheels to make the story go. And they go not quite back to back because it's like House of X, Powers of X, then it's like House of X 2, Powers of X 2, then it was like Powers of X 3, House of X. So they kind of been flip flopping.
Right.
And it's been hard to keep track of it because the way they come out, you get in kind of a couple different storylines out. House of X, you're dealing with one timeline. Powers of X, we have 4 different timelines going. We have like an original timeline, current timeline, a timeline 100 years, and a timeline 1,000 years. And they use the Powers of X as like X to the 0 power being year 1, X to the power 1 being year 10, X to the power of 2 being year 100.
Wow.
So they're really
How dare they
this.
put math into this?
I know, they're
Get
making
it.
us.
Powers of X.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
that's
clever.
X-Men powers. No, they're talking
right.
about math. Everybody.
They
That's
do-
how they
you
sold
actually-
you these comics with math.
They
Stay in
tricked you
school,
with
kids.
math.
Stay in
If
school.
you read these books, you'll get academic credits.
Stay in
That's a
school,
lie.
kids.
All right.
Okay, so it's been amazing. We're just released House of X number 4, so that is the 7th issue in the series. It's going to run for 12 issues total. We're going to get 6 issues of House of X, 6 issues of Powers of X,
Right.
and then afterwards it's kind of relaunch the entire X universe. So this is like
Yeah.
leading up to the relaunch of all the X titles. John Hickman's staying on. He's writing the main X-Men title, but he's going to also oversee the plots in all the other X series. So he has big plans as far as crossovers,
Right.
big event books, all the cool X-Men stuff. But getting down into the actual story itself,
Yes.
the story revolves around a longtime X-Men character that's been more relegated to the background, Moira McTaggart, friend,
Right.
lover of Charles Xavier, wife of Banshee.
Yep.
And she's been in the X world for a long time, but Hickman has rewrote her into being an Omega level mutant. And her power sort of allows and drives the whole plot of this story and allows for an almost like a time traveling storyline that X-Men
Right.
stories are known for doing like time traveling alternate universe
It's
stuff.
a little bit different than that, though, right?
It's a little different, but it almost follows that same time, same kind of like mindset of like changing events in the past in order to affect the future.
Okay.
Right.
And Moira's power, what they reveal is that when she dies, she's resurrected again, exactly when she was born the first time, but she has complete recollection of everything that happened in her past lives.
So she can like make new decisions about how she's gonna go about things. Like she messes up in one life, she can be like, all right, just kill myself or something.
Yeah, like
or let herself die.
She
and
meets
then
like the wrong
try
dudes,
again.
like,
Yeah.
hey, screw this guy.
This was a terrible date. I'm gonna kill myself and start this whole
This
life.
reminds
over.
me of a Tom Cruise film, that Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
No.
That was good. That was a good movie. Not to get into it, but it was a good
Die,
movie.
repeat. That's the other name of the movie.
Oh, okay.
Live, Die, Repeat.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's,
Wasn't it? I think it was like a graphic novel or a comic before that.
It
Or
could have
maybe-
been.
or it might have been a novel. Might have been
It
an
definitely
actual
sounds
novel.
like a
yeah.
novel.
Yeah.
Like it definitely. It's
It
like
was in concept. I don't think it was the exact same storyline. It was
Yeah.
kind of like adapted.
it's I think I don't think the concept's brand new. The idea of like kind of reliving your life with
Yeah. I mean,
past
Groundhog
knowledge.
Day, except
Right.
with death.
Exactly. It's like that idea of being kind of like purgatory and just
Yeah.
slowly changing events.
Yes.
But one of the themes that is often used in these type of stories is that there's an event that happens that no matter what decisions you make, it seems like fate and destiny are going to drive it to this event.
Right.
So Moira's event that happens in all of her lives is that mutant kind gets wiped out. And no matter what decision she does, sometimes she's able to postpone it a little bit, but that's like at best. At some point, at any time in that timeline, Sentinels are developed, and then that technology is pushed until they create advanced Sentinels, Nimrods, and adaptive AI that can then exterminate the mutants. And this happens no matter what she does. At one point in her existence, she encounters Destiny, the mutant Destiny. Destiny sees her. She can't tell the future. Sees her as like you're just like a black hole.
Right.
Can't tell what's going on with you because you really don't have a destiny. But she's told her, you have 10 lives. I see at most you have 10 lives, maybe 11 if you do things right. And House of X again, going back to the playing on the X, House of X, Power of X, it's her 10th life. This is more his 10th and final life through, and she has to get it right this time.
Yeah.
That's a lot of weight on your shoulders.
No
Yeah,
pressure.
right?
Yeah.
No pressure. And what she does is that she gets in touch with Professor X really early on, and she opens up her mind to him. And Professor X looks in and sees all these realities she's lived to. So they recruit Magneto.
Right.
And
Saw Mystique was in there.
Yep. And it's kind of like they gather all the mutants, bad guys, good guys. They've all gathered. They've created their own little mutant country.
And they haven't been shy about killing off characters throughout this short series too.
Well,
especially like in this one, we take quite a number of casualties.
It all was kind of like culminating up into this issue
Right.
in House of X, where they were saying that they were building. What they found was that at some point, the humans bring online master mold, or these mother molds. Mother molds can create master molds. They can adapt them, make them better, make better sentinels.
Right.
And it just at that point, it's just inevitable. At some point, Nimrod is made, and he'll wipe out all of the mutants.
Yep.
So they decide like the only way they can fight this is that they got to destroy the mother mold right off the bat, as soon as it's getting activated, and then hopefully that'll at least delay it for a little bit. Maybe not
Right.
prevent it, but they'll
Right.
delay it. So in issue 4 of House of X, we get the strike team. They land on the mother mold that's being controlled by this agency called Orchid.
Yep.
And it's this group of scientists, part of like AIM, SHIELD, all like the various covert operations, and they're all working together to protect humankind against mutants. And their solution was to bring online this mother mold. So the X-Men send a strike team to stop that from happening, and it's just a slaughter.
Right.
It is just slaughter from the moment they get on board.
But
Didn't
they achieve their goal.
I think ultimately,
Right.
yes, they achieved it. But there's obviously this is only issue 4,
Yep.
so they do end up destroying the mold, but again at great cost.
Yes.
We end up losing right out of the gate. We lost Mystique to the void of space. We lost Nightcrawler gets completely evaporated, and then I think does Wolverine go to
Archangel,
because he
Husk.
manages. Oh yeah, they
Husk
both
goes down fighting.
Yeah.
like immediately upon arrival they get blown up. Yeah, it's
Wolverine
pretty rough.
gets launched through space to
Yeah.
destroy the final coupling so that they could hurl the mother mold into the sun.
Yep.
He's done, and then
And
Scott.
yes, Scott gets a shot in the back of the head.
And Marvel Girl, Jean Grey, is floating out in the middle of space.
he was on his way to go try and rescue her, and then he gets who's this the doctor character, Doctor.
She's like one of the heads of Orchid. I don't remember Dr. Gregor, I think.
Yeah, that's it, Doctor Gregor.
She's working with like an advanced AI, which is basically the Sentinels this program is introduced like nanobots into like human beings, and then like over time it like gestates and then slowly changes them from organic to inorganic, so they
Right.
become like these like half human, half machine, cyborgy type things.
Right.
And
But under their control.
yeah, and then she wastes Cyclops.
Yeah, he gets injected by the nanites, and he's like, oh,
Yep.
we've already won. Like, there's no point in capturing me. And she's like, my husband was murdered today. I ain't taking any prisoners.
Yeah,
And
we
then
ain't-
Yeah, this
and
is
then
not
you
about
just see
capturing.
like his visor like half blown to pieces, blood everywhere, and then you have the last caption is Jean kind of like monologuing to herself how all of this stuff has unfolded, and even though they've won, they've lost so much, and that's how it always ends up happening. Well, it wasn't Jean who's monologuing. It was what's her name?
Oh.
Because now that I'm thinking about it,
It's Xavier, I think.
Yeah.
That's doing it. But
but Jean's kind of like drifting off into space, so kind of presumed that she's going to die too.
it's what always happens to the X-Men. The X-Men always get killed.
Yeah.
Winning's always
Even
getting-
when they win, they lose.
How do you relaunch your
So,
House of X?
I would have to presume-
or, of mutants by killing everybody.
I would have to presume that there's going to, after House of X is going to be an 11th life, and that'll be the one where they succeed.
Yep.
She learns from this, and from there she's able to actually stop
Yes.
the end of mutant kind and relaunch the series.
That's what I think as well. It's like she went through like the first 6 or 7 lives, with like a very static idea of how she was kind of changed things.
Right.
It wasn't until like her later years that she started thinking more laterally and thinking more like creatively, like, okay, how am I going to solve this? And in the end of her 9th life, it was a failure as well. You know, they were able to steal some information that allowed them to progress further in this her 10th life.
Yeah.
But you know, the X-Men faced a crushing defeat. They were all destroyed, and Moira died obviously at the end in order to be reincarnated in her 10th life.
Yeah.
But I think that's basically it.
Yeah.
At that point, they're kind of have to lose in order to win.
So yeah, I think they would be. I wouldn't imagine seeing anything other than the next issue, kind of like concluding what happens here, the information she's going to take back to that 11th life, and then one more issue of each to tell us how they actually win.
Perhaps,
Hopefully-
but there's
hopefully.
also, and then part of the reason why I think you might see it a little further down is that there's a couple other storylines that are going
Right.
on that they introduced in like, you know, either the first issue or like in the 3rd issue, but because the main meat of the story is in this current day timeline, they'll have to reconcile what's happening 100 years in the future, 1,000 years in the future, which they've only touched on so far. So still don't quite know how those storylines are going to then like kind of lead to this whole resetting of the universe.
Right.
So we still have, this is 4, we have Powers of X4, and then we have 2 more of each, so we have
Yeah.
5 issues left between the 2 of them.
All right.
What do you think explains the resurgence of popularity? Do you think anything has to do with the Disney acquisition of the Fox films? And they're
No, I mean, like,
raising their level of importance within the comic storylines, or
I don't think so. I mean, I think people are certainly excited for it, but like,
Yeah, usually they do that kind of thing like right after announcing that they're going to remake something.
there's been no announcements yet.
Yeah.
Right?
they
So,
haven't?
I mean,
Yeah.
X-Men has always been a major property for Marvel, and it has been kind of dragging by the coattails the past couple of
Yeah.
years. So
Yeah.
it's time to give it some real attention again.
I think what really drove is that people were interested when John Hickman came back to the X-Men. He's written them before,
Yeah.
and it was quite a celebrated run. But you know, it was a long time ago, and he's really become known as a creator that can work with like giant stories, like, you know, real big epics.
Right.
And that's what X-Men needs, because they have such a giant, diverse cast. They have so much history. You need a creator that can balance all of that. And Hickman's one of those rare
Absolutely.
minds that are able to do it.
Yep.
And that's why they'll have him writing the main story, and he'll be also overseeing all the other offshoot X-Men
Right,
books as well, so
branches.
that you can keep the coherence. And you know, it's a real one thing I'll tell to anyone that hasn't read this book yet is that it's a dense read.
Yeah.
And
A lot of dialogue.
House of X is probably the more easier accessible of the 2 series. Powers of X is definitely the expositional title, where you get like a lot of, you know, the classic infographics that Hickman stories are known for. Like, you know, you see panels of like diagrams,
Right.
and, you know, like flow charts and
Yep.
you know, other stuff, which, you know, they're cool because it gives you a lot of backstory and a lot of information in a like really condensed way without just having some character on panel, just like, you know, just
Yeah.
giving, you know, just
Like you don't have to,
vomiting
don't have to
information
worry about
Absolutely.
dialogue, like to explain stuff where
Right.
it just feels inorganic to
Exactly.
the situation.
out. Whereas, like, okay, here's the information you need. We're not going to have any characters explain it because it wouldn't make any sense to
Yeah.
the plot. But this is important to the background, so here it is in this, you know, nice infographic page. And I think the fans they realize they wanted a good, solid X-Men series, written by a, you know, real visionary creator, and you got some really great artists. RB Silva doing one of the titles, and Pepe Larez doing the other one, and they are just phenomenal. Their artwork's exceptionally good. Two of the best young artists at Marvel.
Hickman could arguably do what for X-Men what Bendis really did for a lot of big
For
titles
a lot of Marvel,
yeah. So this is kind of an exciting time. I'm happy to see a little bit more of a focus on the mutant world.
I'm sure that the X-Men coming back to coming underneath the MCU umbrella didn't hurt just people like being interested in the property, right? Also be like, oh, the
certainly
X-Men.
make it a lot easier for them to come up with some concept storylines to introduce into the MCU.
Yeah.
There'd definitely be a fan base there for it.
Absolutely.
So
do
X-Men
we-
relative again. I love it.
It is, yeah.
Like the 90s all over again.
It's right where I jumped on to comics. So
Yeah,
this is kind of
me too.
How old were you, Tyler?
By the year 2000, I was 8. But I got my first comics when I was like 6, 7, somewhere in that range.
Nice.
That's right. You gotta start.
Didn't know how to read them. I mean, I still can't read, but
Start them off young. You gotta get them at a young age.
exactly.
What do we got next?
What do you
So
want next?
we've got a couple things to talk about. So maybe we should get no, that's good. We're gonna save that for last. I think.
Okay.
Let's talk about the Savage Avengers.
Are we gonna trash on this?
Savage.
I don't want to too badly, but Savage is kind of a double entendre in this because what the writers have done to this storyline is pretty savage. In of that, if you keep up with our shop talk, you might have remembered that we talked about Savage Avengers a few months ago, and the first issue or two were actually pretty
Every
good.
month after that.
I think we've talked about it every single month.
Yeah,
I
just
think
like-
we've just been
Yeah.
keeping up
Yeah.
serialized, updates.
And it's been pretty good.
Yes.
So
It
far.
was interesting enough where like we just undecidedly just came up with the decision that it was gonna be talked about every month.
Yeah, we just
Yeah,
universally have liked this title a lot. So
But
I
it's
enjoyed it.
starting to slow down as far as my interest goes, only because it's starting to get kind of crumped together.
Crumped.
Yeah,
I like that word. Crumped.
it's like,
It's like crammed, but it's also like taking a dump.
yeah, because there's so much information just piled on that, like from almost from page to page, it's like, wait, how did that get to there?
There's literally just
Yeah.
like, at one point like Venom's a dragon
Yeah.
and he's fighting the Bone God, the Marrow God.
yeah.
Yes.
And then like end of issue, next issue, Venom's normal.
Yeah, he's just normal Venom.
That's
No,
true,
like,
yeah, yeah.
why, how did he become normal Venom again? It's like, oh, well, maybe Marrow is dead now, so,
know.
like, that's why he changed. And the explanation,
Don't think about it.
the explanation for why he
Thank you, Phil.
became a dragon in the first place was, I mean, it's right here. Just the cosmic radiation absorbed by Marrow altered Venom into the Savage Dragon form. How does that work?
I'm totally for the old opt out that it's comics. Try not
Yeah.
to think too
Yeah.
much. About
Yes.
it. But like at least give us a little bit of credit. I mean,
I feel like there's a very cohesive and strong storyline here that they're not giving enough pages to
Yeah.
really draw out. Which is also kind of hilarious because they do that thing where it's just like, all right, not right now he's a dragon, and then next issue he's not a dragon anymore, and we don't know why.
didn't bother to take a panel to explain.
But then they spend like a page and a half like killing a single guard.
just eviscerating this random guard.
And it's not like this guard it's not like he was like the big tough guard that they had to take down. It was just a
Just
guard.
introduced them in this
And then they
page.
slaughter him for like a page and a half, and then there's this expletive for like
Yeah.
it's kind of rough. I mean,
the pacing's tough. On
yeah,
that book.
it is.
It really.
you kind of have to like double back and be like, wait, what happened here?
Yeah, it really felt like the narrative fell apart after they realized, hey, we have like 2 more issues to wrap this storyline, which they had really no way of doing satisfactorily.
Yeah, no. And like
Yeah.
you get to the end of of this issue, and the Marrow God is like dead, and you're like, all right, what was this all for? And then they slowly start to explain that it wasn't about the Marrow God necessarily, but like what this
It was about cool and goth.
what
Yes.
Gath is doing with the Marrow God, and it just kind of it doesn't come together in a satisfactory
And
way.
actually, it really falls apart at the end because
Yeah.
like it's such an odd transition into the next arc, right?
It is very, very much so. And now the characters, like the team, is blown apart. Everyone's gone their separate ways.
Really, no reason at all, too, because like the way they kind of explain it is, Gath brings back Frank Castle's family using skinwalkers in order to basically try and trick him into becoming bound to the skinwalkers. But of course, Voodoo is able to stop that from happening. But this still this still annoys. You can bleep that out. It still
No, you can leave
annoys
that in.
Frank to the extent that now he wants to be the one who gets to kill Gath.
Yes.
And so, at the end of all of
Really
this,
did not dig the sunglasses on Frank Castle, by the way.
Very Terminator.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like that was
a little
pretty
bit
weak.
odd.
Yeah. But anyway, go on. I didn't mean to disrupt.
No, that's
your-
perfectly fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's,
It was a valid point. Didn't work
So-
for me either.
Voodoo is now chasing Gath into whatever part of the universe that Gath opens a portal to, and Voodoo opens up a portal back to New York City for the rest of the team to go through. But of course, Conan doesn't like magic, so he decides he's going to walk from Antarctica, where the Savage Lands are.
Yes.
And Frank decides, you know what? I think I'm going to join him. I think I'm going to walk with him.
Not only just walk with him.
He decides to take the caskets of his family with them
yeah.
instead of
That's
sending
right,
them back
dragging
through the
them along.
portal. So it's like,
Them behind them.
and there's a little bit of like dialogue in there about
Yeah.
wanting to
Electra
learn.
was trying to like get him to go or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
He says something
Yeah.
about like wanting to understand more about Conan's god
Crom.
Crom.
Yeah.
But
I wanna
like,
learn more about this Crom fella.
but that desire to learn more about him really just comes from him talking about Crom so much.
But,
Conan like bringing up a lot, and he's like, "Who is this god?" And he's like, "Oh, like you don't even worry about that. If he turned his attention on you, he would more than likely end your life or something."
Yeah.
You know, I'm
didn't make-
paraphrasing.
yeah. What
Then he's
did-
like, "I want to learn more about this guy. Let me drag my family through Antarctica with this savage Conan."
Yeah, I couldn't really
doesn't-
understand the logic behind some of the decisions.
There's a
Savage
story
Avenger.
here. There's a story here, and it's not drawn out. Like,
No.
can I get the novelized version of this story?
I think they had some really interesting ideas, and then I don't know if they're planning on switching creative teams, and that's why they had to like kind of tie everything off so quickly. But
Right.
it was really rushed.
Yeah.
Not a lot of the character motivation made sense. Dialogue was okay at best.
Yeah. But again, with it being so jumpy,
Yeah.
at times I felt like it was just kind of jumping back and forth
Yeah.
between
Yeah.
like inconclusive story arcs that all happen at the same time.
That's narrative aside.
Yeah.
There were some really cool action scenes.
Oh, for sure.
In the issue, definitely like.
the Venom Wolverine hammer.
So at one point, the Marrow God
Yes.
falls, and Wolverine's like, "We gotta take this thing out." He's trying to cut his neck out. He's like, "Oh, he's healing too fast." Okay, new plan. Let's go in through his skull.
And
So he
just-
tries to dig his claws into the thing's skull. He can't. So then, friggin' Conan like grabs a hammer. Venom turns his fists into hammer. They just start hammering Wolverine's like forearms and knives
Yeah, like this, and they're just
into
like,
the back of this thing's head.
it was like, okay, that works, I
That was-
guess.
it was
I have to admit, I've never
awesome.
seen that in a comic.
That was
before,
pretty
so-
impressive.
It was very effective.
Yeah.
I
And
it
figured
makes
Thor would have
sense,
came
too,
up with this
yeah.
idea
Yeah.
before.
Right.
Just like, yeah, just hammer.
Yeah, it was, so yeah.
It is straight savage, but yeah, the plot's kind of a mess.
It started off so well too. You know, it's a little bit disappointing how
It
the
just
last couple of
kinda-
issues have gone. That being said, maybe they can turn it around here with now that the characters are off on their own separate missions, maybe we'll see a little bit more development that makes sense.
Well, maybe what they needed to do is give like Conan a little more one-on-one time, right? Because when you're balancing a cast, this was basically Conan.
Perfect.
This is basically Conan's big coming out party in Marvel.
Yes.
And you can't really learn that much about a character when he's surrounded by a cast of like 5 other characters.
That's true.
So let's give him some one-on-one time with Frank. They can really learn what like Conan's character is going to be in the Marvel universe. And that's probably going to actually make I think it can make the storyline work a little better.
Yep.
It'll give some time to breathe. You don't have to cram so much in such a little.
Yeah, slow down a little bit.
Really good point. Yep.
So yeah, I think that's all we have to say about Savage at the moment. So we can move on.
Can we agree that we're gonna drop Savage from the?
Let's read a few more issues
Okay.
and then we'll decide together if
Yeah,
we'll bring
yeah,
it
yeah.
back up.
Right now, it's
again.
kind of leaning towards no.
All you need to know
I think
is
there's
that
plenty of other stuff we can discuss
Yeah.
in future episodes.
Frank and Conan have gone on an adventure together with his dead family.
Frank and Conan are going on a buddy comedy.
Yeah.
Hijinks and shenanigans will ensue.
It's basically, are we there yet?
Yeah.
Meets like Weekend at Bernie's.
It's like Lethal Weapon. It's the Savage version.
There you go.
Savage
All right.
Weapon.
So, do we want? I think we should finish off with her because this was actually pretty decent.
Okay.
So, let's do a quick mention.
A little cursory mention of the
The anniversary.
the
issue.
enigmatic
been,
Marvel
That's not great
1000.
It's been 1,000 years that Marvel's been
It's
doing
been
comics.
1,000.
That's crazy.
This is actually 1,000 comics.
I actually had
1000
someone ask me, "Do you
comics.
have issue 999?" I did.
So this is a gimmick
They
issue.
didn't know. Okay, they didn't know.
There's no actual Marvel Comics 999. Actually, what it really is a celebration of the 80th anniversary of Marvel Comics being published.
Right.
So when they started it as Atlas Comics, and then eventually Atlas became what we know now as Marvel.
Yes.
This was a strange issue. Every page was basically its own little mini story with its own creative team. None of the plot really tied together. There was a running.
Look at the list of credits on the back.
So what you're saying is that it's not like the 1,000th issue. It's 1,000 Marvel stories in a single book.
It's not even the 1,000
It's-
good. I don't know what the 1,000 was. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
I think it was just.
If
There's
anyone
not
could,
even 1,000 pencil strokes in there. Don't even let them fool you.
if anyone can tell me why it's 1,000, I don't know. You
I
want-
think
you want a prize?
maybe they
I
were
think you could
maybe they
probably
were
call
jealous
any
because
one of these
DC hit 1,000 issues on a couple of their books, so maybe they thought, let's just arbitrarily come up with
That
1,000th
might be it.
issue.
We had
That could
Action
be it,
1,000,
yeah.
a Detective Comics 1,000.
Yeah.
Marvel's like, well, we want 1,000
Yeah.
as well.
This isn't fair.
That's it.
So here's Marvel
gotta-
Comics.
We're doing substantially better than you guys, but we still want our 1,000.
Marvel, just
We can't let you have anything, DC. We have to have it too.
so selfish, Marvel. No one else can have anything
You
nice.
have so much already.
So there is it seems to be a recurring theme throughout this with this Infinity Mask. I gotta tell you, I made it through like 20 pages and I just couldn't. It's so disjointed. I mean, we bagged on Savage Avengers pretty hard
Yeah.
for being disjointed narrative, but this is just really hard reading. Landmark issue, I don't know really what else to say. The Action Comics 1,000 and Detective Comics that 1,000 I thought were really good. Were really good issues. I don't know if you guys had read them,
Oh,
but
yeah.
they were all like homages to Batman, Superman, little mini
Right.
stories, little just like just little,
That's like an
Remind us.
organically, or like those issues were organic landmark issues.
yes.
This almost seemed a bit contrived.
This seemed like a gimmick.
Yeah.
And then there's also, in the classic Marvel fashion, it was released with like 20 different variant covers.
Yes.
Right.
And some of the covers were outstanding, by the
Some
way.
of them were outstanding. There was a Mark Brooks one of Captain America that was beautiful.
Love that cover.
I
Yep.
picked up the Tedesco cover of She-Hulk because I liked Tedesco. I thought that was a real fun cover. But man, that Brooks cover of Captain America is awesome.
That's the World
we all
War
know
II
how
cover, right?
Tyler feels
Yeah.
about Captain America. You can see.
He could basically join. Although, you know what? I'm not gonna lie. My heart kind of tendered to him a little bit more at that moment in Endgame.
Which part?
You know which part? the best Captain America moment of like the entire MCU.
He's like, that is America's ass.
That was pretty good too. That was pretty good too. I gotta tell you something related to that after this
When he
because it's
faced
not
himself?
friendly for kids.
When he faces himself and he says,
No,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
kind of that. But it involves another movie that Chris Evans was
did?
in.
okay.
But
Was it Fantastic Four movie?
no,
reference?
it was. Actually, I don't want to say it because this is it's not a family friendly movie. It's a spoof movie. That is
the not another.
Yeah. You know the scene where he's looking at the pictures of himself when he's walking through the school.
Yeah.
Except when he gets to the picture, it's
Yeah.
Captain America's ass, and he just like looks at it and is like, like walks away, like yeah, he knows. Anyways, when he picks up Thor's hammer,
Oh yeah, that was amazing.
he picks it up. I'm like, ooh, and he just like,
Thor's like, yes, I always knew it.
like, oh man, that moment, yeah,
that was pretty cool.
Awesome.
that was good. And I've heard some really awesome speculations about whether or not he was actually able to lift the hammer back in Age of Ultron when they were like all kind of like
Pre-Civil War days.
drinking and like
Yeah.
you know fooling around, and he kind of moves it. And
He wasn't worthy yet.
well, so there's like speculation that maybe he was worthy, but he understood that Thor's need to be the only one worthy of it kind of outshone his need to show off that he is worthy. But he knew that he was worthy. And to be honest, let's look at everything that he's done and what it means to be worthy of the power of Thor, and he kind of is at that point. So yeah, I think the
Interesting.
theory is that he was able to, and as soon as he went to lift it, he realized he was able to, but he didn't think that
Yeah.
it would be good for Thor's psyche.
Because he probably understood like how fragile like Thor's
At that
ego
time,
was.
yeah.
Because like you saw what happened after he got beat by Thanos. I mean, he went full on Lebowski.
Yeah,
Melted ice
which was
cream.
also fantastic, and now I can cosplay Thor just a little bit better. My buddy Glenn went and saw the movie, and he says as soon as he got out of the movie, he called me. He explained this to me in the call. He was like, "Yeah, I just saw the new Marvel movie Endgame." I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "You really are Thor, aren't you?" I was like, "Maybe."
This is our imitating life.
But yeah, so I did like that moment.
Kind of a tangent.
So,
Yeah, it was. It was.
So congratulations, Marvel.
So yeah, exactly. Like,
did it!
1,000
Like,
issues.
Not
1,000
telling you-
somethings.
Not telling you not to buy the issue, but I mean, there was, like I said, good cover art.
Yeah.
Might be a nice.
Read
wall
every
fixture for
page
you.
like one at a time.
Yes.
Like, read a page
we were,
tonight.
We
and
were
then-
looking into the gimmick of this 1,000th issue,
Yes.
Yeah.
and what we kind of found out was that every page is basically like a snippet of like a big event in Marvel Comics.
Oh, I see.
So
Yeah.
it's sort of like the 1,000 Arabian Nights. Like it's supposed to be like 1,000 stories. It's like these are like supposed to be like quote 1,000 little
That's what I said.
moments in the Marvel
I called
Comics.
it. I called it.
Okay.
That's,
Well, yeah.
that's what we read online.
Every page has a year, so it's like 1955, 1956. First, like 1955, Black Knight's introduced. 1956,
See,
Ginny Woo.
1,000 years of Marvel.
So there's like one story for every era, so it would be 80 stories, but every story is like 1 or 2 pages. It's not really.
So then why is it
It's not even a
Marvel
story. It's like not like
1,000?
Yeah.
a story. It's
It's
like
just-
to get you to buy the other comics.
It's a
Should be-
vignette.
It's Marvel 80 is
Bullshit.
what it actually
Yeah.
is.
So basically it's a advertisement to buy their essentials
yeah,
collections,
buy our backlog.
more or
kid.
less.
1,000 is more marketable than 80.
Very true.
But it's more
Very
accurate.
true.
Because, I mean, even we were sitting here like, but what's with the 1,000?
But it goes to 11.
This one goes to 1,000.
Maybe you have to read it 1,000 times to understand what's
Maybe
going
that,
on.
yeah. On the 1,003, it'll suddenly make sense.
It's like, oh, that's how it comes
It
together.
won't. That's the spoiler. It doesn't.
In 1,000 issues, it'll all make sense.
Well, speaking of getting off of Marvel 1000, speaking of landmark issues,
Yes.
we had a really big landmark issue in the world of independent comics. Spawn released issue number
Yes.
300.
Yes.
And in doing so, gets tied for the longest running creator-owned independent comic of all time. It's currently tied with David Sims' Cerberus. And by next month, it will have taken the record of the longest running independent creative-owned comic of all time. Congratulations, Todd McFarlane.
You did it.
You did it.
Proud of you, buddy.
Awesome achievement.
Also,
Yep,
Spawn
it
is an absolutely fantastic story, just in general.
It's been really good lately.
Yeah.
And the artwork's been excellent. And they made... I don't know if you had a chance to read it. I didn't notice any copies. I'm guessing you might have sold out of Spawn 300s at your shop.
Yeah. They're gone.
It was...
Another fast seller.
They definitely are making some changes to the Spawn universe. Looks like they're changing the status quo where the Angels and Demons have taken away Al Simmons' costume. They've removed the Spawn costume from him, but he still has powers.
Okay, yeah, that kind of
Right.
alters the way that we understand
Changes things, you know.
Spawn is supposed to be.
And we also have a few other Spawns running around. Like they introduced a lady Spawn,
Yeah.
and in the letters page in the back, it was McFarlane just basically thanking everybody and saying explaining what his vision for the future of Spawn was, and it sounds a lot like some kind of Spider-Verse situation where you'll have a lot of different Spawn characters running around.
Spawnverse.
Oh boy.
Like a Spawnverse, yeah. It sounds like
Let's see what these new comics, new adventures will spawn.
And then I think
You are the
Are
punch
you
for that one.
are you upset that I got a pun in there before you could?
No, I'm actually
You
very
sitting
proud
there
of you
just
right
like
now. I've got a tear in
gears
my eye. I'm so
rolling.
proud
Like,
of you.
how can I use Spawn in a joke right now?
he's never been so proud of you in his life.
Well done, son.
Thanks, Dad.
I think Stonehenge Grimhammer
Stonehenge.
Stonehenge
had made a comment before the show that McFarlane was financing, decided that he was going to finance the Spawn movie himself so that they can release it with a rated R rating. Which, if they're
Yeah.
doing Spawn, it has
Yeah.
to be rated R.
It
They
should
did
be.
PG-13 back in the 90s.
That was PG-13?
Yeah, it was PG-13.
Which one? Is it the live action one?
The live action one with John Leguizamo.
The first Spawn movie I ever watched was the animated one.
Oh, that was awesome. The
he,
HBO one?
rips his arm off and
The good one.
Fights.
Oh yeah,
The message.
yeah. I was like,
Violators
I was like 12 years old. There's no way I should have been watching that. My mom ever found out, I'd probably be. Actually, I own a copy of it on VHS.
I have a copy of that one in
Yeah, it's a
VHS too.
great movie.
That
Wow.
HBO series was excellent, and we followed the comics very closely.
Yes.
Whereas this live action movie kind of,
Yeah.
it followed stuff, but it took liberties.
Mm-hmm.
I think if they did a Spawn movie proper now,
Yeah.
I really think they could. They did a good job in the '90s, and their CG was light years behind what they can do today.
Yeah.
Time's
That
probably
wasn't-
right.
No, it wasn't.
The time's probably right for it.
I think so too. With superhero franchises being quite popular, and especially Spawn hitting number 300.
Plus, we're all waiting for what is actually going to follow the Phase 3 of the MCU, and I don't feel like already the DCU is out.
Yeah.
That kind of crumbled and died. I think they're gonna try to revive it, but that's gonna be hurting. I have a moderate amount of faith in Phase 4 of the MCU, and so having this come out, a new Spawn movie, if this really takes it, this could be the new comic universe that I might enjoy.
I would love to see it, although Spawn
Maybe.
would probably plays to a different crowd. It won't have that
Yeah.
universal
Well,
appeal
no,
that MCU
absolutely
movies
not.
have, right?
Try to think of a Guardians of the Galaxy feel Spawn movie. It's quirky one-liners and jokes, and then demons and murder.
Yeah, I'm not sure that works.
Yeah,
Probably
putting it
not.
together in my
Probably
head,
not. So you're right. It would really only appeal to a certain crowd. But I'm a part of that crowd,
Yeah.
and I will happily go and see that over
Yeah,
and over again.
definitely.
Maybe if they have the Max come to the big screen.
Yeah, he could be a kind of a
Yeah.
That could be
funny,
the quirky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. See,
Yeah,
see
offbeat
this.
stuff.
I don't think Spawn can be quirky.
No.
I really don't think any character in Spawn can be quirky. Maybe Old Lady God could be quirky. I don't know. Like maybe that's it.
We'll just stick to the dark theme, I think.
Yeah.
for
Dark
Spawn.
theme
That
definitely
works
works.
best. That
It
works
works.
best.
For Spawn.
He's like, let's make a Guardian-style Batman movie. Guardians of Gotham.
Guardians of Gotham.
So
Also, we did check. We're getting Birds of Prey in 2020 for the DCU.
yes, we are.
No one cares.
No one cares.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Does
Like-
anyone really?
Not really.
Name me
Tyler
three
did
birds.
say like the DCEU is going to like die.
Name me the three birds of prey.
I
Or
think-
even 3 or 4 members of the birds of prey.
I assume like,
Batgirl?
Batgirl's in it.
Is Mockingbird, is that?
No, that's
Mockingbird's
Marvel.
in it. No, she's
That's Marvel.
That's
Sorry,
Marvel.
I tried to give him
No.
something.
What's her name?
Blackbird?
She's
Black
on Green
Canary.
Arrow.
Black
Black
Canary.
Black
Canary.
Canary.
Yeah,
She's
she's
on
in it, yes.
Green Arrow.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
Arrow, excuse me.
She's in the Arrowverse. Yes.
Yeah.
So we've named
then,
one bird
Big-
and a bat.
Harley Quinn.
She's not a bird.
She's not in Birds of Prey.
No.
She'll probably be in the
She's
movie
in the
though.
upcoming movie.
Yeah,
like,
she'll
she
be
was
in the
the
movie.
trailer.
Oh yeah, that's a gimmick.
Yeah, who's the other? Wasn't it Huntress, or
Huntress,
something?
yeah.
Yeah, Huntress.
Like no one's gonna like know these characters. Like we're
I
into
don't-
comics and we barely know these teams.
Yeah.
Like, what's the chances that your average?
You
person
guys
might
actually
be-
read DC.
Yeah.
That's
Also,
I have an
we
excuse.
did kind of establish that we don't really care about DC. I mean,
No, I mean,
in a
I didn't.
generalized sense.
Are we getting another Wonder Woman? I thought we were getting another Wonder
Yeah,
Woman.
1980, Wonder Woman 1980, what, 4?
See, I
1980?
will
Oh,
watch
that's
that.
right. Yes.
It's going to be like a retro movie. Well,
Yep.
they're going to be set in the 80s, which will be like in the future of Wonder Woman 1,
Yeah.
which was set in the 60s. So, no, not the 60s. When is it? The 40s, 30s.
When
Right,
was
it
World War II?
It was. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
40.
1940 to
It was 40s.
1945.
So it's, yeah, okay.
So 40 years later, and she's still looking.
But still in the past, yeah.
You
She's
know.
looking fine as.
I think the
she's
best you
looking-
can
she's
hope
still looking
for.
good for her age. is what
The
I'm
best you
saying.
can hope for is a couple of maybe decent standalone films from
Yeah.
DC, but nothing.
Shazam's going to be good.
No
I think
cohesive.
Well, Shazam was fantastic.
Shazam will be good. The new Joker
Yeah.
movie looked like it's going to be definitely its own
Are we
thing.
getting
Yeah,
a new
but it looks
Batman
good.
too?
I actually
Did you
really
guys
wanna
talk about
see
Batman in the
Joker.
pop
I
culture?
think we did talk about it.
You guys already talked
in the
about
past.
the new Batman casting?
Yeah.
Oh, it was mentioned, I believe. Yeah, the Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he could do a good job.
I
think he
so
could
as
do a good
well.
job. I think people like poo-pooing this way too.
Oh, that's gross. You guys didn't see that? Don't buy this issue.
Don't buy Web of Black Widow.
He's so excited about Robert Pattinson playing Batman.
yeah,
He's spitting everywhere.
I'm gushing.
I'm literally gushing. I'm so excited.
I-
No, I
he's-
think he's good. He's a good actor.
Yeah,
He's
he's
dreamy.
given too much crap for
He
his
is dreamy.
role as
As Twilight.
as the sparkly vampire.
I didn't know he's-
He does other movies.
Yeah,
you know
he's a
that,
good
right?
actor.
He is a good actor.
I know he's got that albatross.
Exactly.
He was
That-
Cedric before he
Twilight
was Edward.
albatross around his neck.
Right.
For me, you know, that's
Sure.
what I remember him from. I don't think I've ever seen him in another movie. What other
Do we
movies
know
has
that
he
he's
been in?
definitely gonna be like Bruce Wayne
It
Batman?
was
or
announced that he was going to be. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be the main
because I could
Batman,
definitely
but he's
see
gonna
him
be
as a
playing
Batman Beyond.
Oh, like if he did a
Terry
Terry
McGinnis.
McGinnis.
Yeah,
Yep.
I could see that.
Interesting. I figured they'd do. I don't know.
Because
It's all
I don't
speculation
feel
now.
like they could resurrect Batman again, especially if they're trying to keep the same DCU.
They're not. They,
Yeah,
don't,
it's
they have
just-
no idea what they're doing. They have to have a
Tried-
new Superman. They need a new Batman. The
Yeah.
only thing they're keeping is like Wonder Woman, Aquaman.
Do we have any talks on that?
They
'Cause I heard
haven't
something
even
about.
done a Flash or a Cyborg movie.
I like the Flash.
I do
think-
too.
I
thought
think
it-
Conan did Cyborg the best. Do you remember the little Conan skit where Batman tries to join the Marvel's universe?
No.
Oh yes, yes, that was great. That was an awesome Cyborg. I didn't like the DCU.
They're in the
Cyborg,
cafeteria
actually.
and someone spills a drink on Cyborg and he shorts out and does one of these.
Yeah, I thought Cyborg in the DCU was a little bit like, I don't know, like,
Terrible.
yeah, like he wasn't. Cyborg is like fun-loving and like quirky and like, but still a badass. Versus this guy that was really kind of like gloomy and like
I always
focused.
I always kind of read Cyborg as kind of like a gloomy, But I guess this also is because of the generation gap, right? Like you
Yeah,
probably
that's
know
true.
Cyborg from like
I'm
the Teen Titans animation.
yeah,
Right.
I'm a little bit closer to that. But I mean,
In the comics, like he's very just grumpy because like he had a hard time coming to
a shame.
terms with being.
shows you how much I read
a
DC
machine.
comics.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, like he felt like he never he couldn't fit in. He just didn't know what he was. He had a lot of trouble identifying as, am I human? Am I a machine? Am I a
Yep.
freak? What am I?
That's
And
fair.
It made him really upset and he's kind of cantankerous all the time.
Yep.
So that
He should have hung out with the Teen Titans more.
That was a good word, by the way. Cantankerous.
cantankerous.
I don't actually know what that means, so I just ignored it.
It means
So
what you
he's
probably
he's
imagine
a
it
he's a
meaning.
canned tank, is what
yeah,
you're saying?
he can't. No, it means he can't tank.
Oh, he
with us.
can't tank.
He can't tank with us.
Okay, that makes sense.
What, how would that make you feel if you couldn't tank with us?
Ah, man, I would feel left out.
Yeah.
I'd feel
And
like
upset, right? Yeah.
I'd feel like half a man, probably half man and
Probably
half
kind of
machine.
broody and just,
Yeah,
Exactly. Cantankerous.
words such as "booyah" would never come to mind during that part of my life. I think.
I'm glad we could work some DC talk into this, even though it wasn't.
Yeah,
really,
we weren't planning on
We weren't
talking about
planning
DC.
on
Yeah. No.
well, it's
And
like
it's not.
crazy.
It's
That
not
was
even
our
we,
big
we
concern.
planned
We
not
didn't
to do
have-
it. We just never
yeah,
even talked about
we didn't
talking
even-
about the DC.
yeah.
No. We were going to leave them out completely, and now we worked them in.
Dude,
in
look
a
at that.
nice
And we
spirited
still
discussion,
have
too.
an awesome Marvel comic to talk about.
Yes, we get to
end
finish
with.
on
to
a
kind
high
of
note.
wash.
Yeah,
cleanse
to
the
get all the
palate.
DC flavor
I
out
like
of your
that.
mouth.
Cleanse the
Cleanse the
palate.
palate,
Yes.
as it were.
Yes, exactly.
That-
Exactly.
okay.
Disclaimer:
Okay.
we are not DC
This is our
haters.
dessert.
I am.
Oh, we've established many
Okay.
times.
I just want to. I want everyone else to know. Like,
Yeah.
if this is the first time you've watched one of our videos, we don't generally hate on DC. I do, but we as a whole don't.
Yeah. And then we're kind of left like either defending or not. I mean, in some
Yeah.
cases, the hate's warranted. So
Yeah.
we get it.
It's funny. Marvel got a little bit more heat from us so far in this show
Yeah, that's
than
true.
they usually do.
Yeah,
right?
I'm being actually really nice to
Yeah.
DC right now.
DC's
Oh,
getting
my.
off light.
Well, we didn't hate review anything of DC's. I mean, we literally decided to hate
By
review.
process of elimination, they actually got
Yeah, they got off.
they got off easy.
So we talked less about them, and they
They're doing better.
got
yeah.
away light. That was
So
bad.
let's talk about this. How are we
All
going to
right.
cleanse this palate? So,
So
to
we
speak?
have an issue number 1, Web of Black Widow.
Yes.
So we have a kind of interesting storyline here where we have an in disguise Natasha Romanoff. She goes to this gala and she essentially she sees Tony there. I made a comment that without the rest of his goatee, he kind of looked like his father. I actually thought it was his father at first because they just kept referring to him as Stark.
Yep.
So I was like, is this like a Howard Stark, like Natasha in the past kind of thing? But no, it was Tony. It was actually Tony. Because this takes place after she is resurrected.
Yeah, after both her and Tony have recently died and been resurrected.
Yeah. But
That's right.
so we get little snippets from her past as you go through the book, and you basically learn that she was hired by the father of the man who is running this gala, what's the guy's name?
Like Sobel, like
Sobel?
Walter Sobel.
Yeah. So his father actually hired her while she was still a young girl working for the Red Room to kill one of their company's competitors. And now she has essentially come back to kind of seek revenge by making it known that a hitman was hired to kill this company's competitors, and that's part of why they became so powerful. So she goes through this whole kind of ruse to get into the media booth, and instead of playing this nice little compilation video that was set up for this gala, she plays video evidence about this hit hire, and then there's a little dialogue between her and Tony after she pulls off this little stunt where she basically reveals that she doesn't really feel like herself.
Yeah.
She doesn't know where she fits in the world anymore, especially dealing with having died and being returned, doesn't feel like a full human anymore. And she all she's left with is the memories, and she's got some pretty bad memories of things that she did in her past, and she doesn't want to be held responsible for those things, so she's going to take care of it. She's going to correct what she's done in her past by essentially going after these people
Yep.
that she has done wrong things for. So it was a very good first issue.
The recent, I mean, we're only one issue in, right? But we
Yep.
just came off of a mini-series, a 5-issue mini for Black Widow, which was outstanding and incredibly dark. I mean, it traveled down some roads that I was like, wow, this is like a mainstream comic, and you're going to talk about that subject matter. You know, so not for the faint-hearted, basically, the subject matter that they traversed was a lot of, you know, apologies to anyone who's sensitive on this subject, but like child endangerment, that kind of thing.
Right.
They really went down that road, and it was gritty. But I love what they're doing with Black Widow. This is really the heart of the character. Yeah, she is an Avenger, you know, looked at as being kind of like
A
these
good guy.
virtuous, like, yeah, exactly, like larger than life, full of virtue type of characters. But really, at the heart of it, she's got an incredibly dark past.
Yeah.
And
It's always been a driving force of her character in the background, but now we get to see it.
right. And this is like her character's all about dealing with the ugly side, the underbelly of the world here, you know, and so, you know, kudos to Marvel for not shying away from that.
Yeah.
And really bringing that to life for us. You know, I don't know if this is going to be. Do we know if this is going to be a mini series or if this is going to be? I'm not really sure. If it's
Oh,
listed
looking
for,
it's looking like it's going to be
I think it's gonna be
a continuing.
I'm guessing this is gonna be her ongoing, at least for now.
I hope so. I hope it is.
What I think is unsaid in this issue that keeps it interesting is, what is she planning on doing? Like, we don't really know what her plan
Yeah.
is. Like, is she trying to get redemption? Like, I'm not sure she's looking for redemption. I think, you know, it just seems like she realizes that stuff in her past has been done, and she herself will never be redeemed for it. But she can make sure that other people will pay.
Oh, see, that's a different take.
Yeah.
There was a really good...
She's almost going like that Hawkeye Ronin
Yeah.
type of route, it seems.
There was something that they mentioned in this, and it harkens back to like a this theory called the I think it's called like a Theseus ship. So she mentions, if you replace every part of an old car, is it really the same car you bought? So
Right.
the theory, the way this mind puzzle works is like, so there's this guy, he builds a ship. It's like the greatest ship ever built. But over time, it's falling apart. So like, you know, he replaces like a board. Then the board that he like takes off the ship, he chucks it in the river. Now, like a mile down the river is another shipbuilder. He sees this piece come by, so he pulls it up. And then over time, he just gets more and more pieces of the original ship come down as Theseus is repairing his old ship, until afterwards, Theseus' ship is completely replaced. It's been completely restored. None of the original parts are to it. But the guy down the river, he's reconstructed the ship based off the original parts that were replaced, and now he has completely rebuilt the ship. And now, which one is Theseus' ship?
Right. The one that's been rebuilt and replaced over time, or the parts that have been reassembled.
Right.
That's
So which one's really Black Widow? Is it what she was? Is it what she's been reassembled into? And, you know, how do you really, you know, determine what your identity is? And I think that's a lot of what I imagine what like they're trying to do as far as maybe a new angle on the resurrection story.
right.
Yep.
I'm excited
That's
to see where they
interesting.
go with it.
Yeah.
As long as they don't pull a Savage on us.
I think
We're
the-
gonna start using that. It's gonna be incorporated into our lexicon.
Yeah. Wow.
Full
This
savage.
comic is real good, and then I got savaged.
Straight savage. Got straight savage. In issue 4.
yeah, so that's definitely solid start. You know, if you haven't looked at the last Black Widow series that came out, you should definitely pick that up. It's probably available in trade now, or soon.
Or
to
soon,
be.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can find issues on the shelf of your local comic store.
They certainly are trying to raise the profile
the-
of Black Widow, right?
Absolutely.
Because she's slated to be in.
Which I'm
She's going to kick off Marvel Cinematic
really excited for that, actually.
Phase 4. First
That's
film.
like one of the few films that I'm actually looking
Is she the
forward
next
to.
one?
She is the next big
Yep.
screen film.
Ooh.
Yep. So
If they bring the same kind
Yep.
of grittiness to that movie that this one does, that these comics are bringing, I think that'd be awesome.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, we did gritty
Probably
before
not,
in
but-
Marvel movies, and they didn't always work out. Like, we did a gritty Thor, and it was like... But then we did a fun Thor, and it was like, hey, this is kind of awesome.
yeah, yep,
It's fair. It's fair.
yeah.
They've
But
come
It'd
up
be
with their
interesting
formula.
to see how Marvel tackles a gritty character, because they haven't really had to do it yet.
But again, like even throughout the entirety of the MCU, Black Widow has always been kind of like that. I mean, she says it best herself. She's got red in her ledger. That's her whole thing, is that she's trying to make up for the things that she's done in her past.
Yeah.
And that follows all the way through right until the end. for
Yeah,
her.
even after Endgame, yeah.
So-
even after during Endgame.
And we saw hints of the grittiness anyway. Like like I said, I mentioned Hawkeye, and how he went the Ronin route when they tracked him down in the Endgame movie.
Yeah.
And I think I really do believe that they're going to flesh that out. They're going to show because it's actually Black Widow who kind of confronts him, right?
Yep.
And so I think the irony here is going to be that you're going to probably see that Black Widow because this is a look into the past, and I wouldn't be surprised if you see Jeremy Renner's
Yeah.
Hawkeye in that, basically in the role reversal.
It'd be a nice parallel to, like, them taking similar routes, different times.
Yep. So you can see how they
What
can
is
really
that?
relate to each other.
What is that?
So-
That incident they always refer to?
The Budapest.
Like, Budapest.
Budapest,
Are we
yeah.
gonna see what happens? Are we gonna see Budapest?
Oh, I got it.
Like that would be great
I
because
think
there's
that-
so many references. It's like, okay, but what was Budapest?
Yeah.
Like what happened?
Yep. I wouldn't be surprised.
Easter
I
egg.
think
It
they
starts
should.
like
I
it
think we all
ends at
deserve to
Budapest.
see Budapest.
Oh, yeah, that'd
Yeah,
be great.
they could, like
Like,
you see, like it concludes, and then she's got like another mission that she's
And it's, like, Budapest.
and they drop the file. And it's like Budapest, and then it's like fade to black.
And they're like, no,
It's like, come on,
we're so close. And then it's answered in the end credit scene. You're like, okay, sweet.
we get all of Budapest in like a 15-minute long end credit scene.
Is there anything on the horizon that we should be looking forward to with comics?
DC's
Anything
Year
that
of
has
the
your
Villain is
Yep.
kicking off this month.
Yep.
There's been some reveals of some of the characters that'll be villainized. Shazam was announced. Supergirl. One of the Robins. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm actually not super excited about this Year of the Villain.
It's happening.
It's
He just
happening.
doesn't care.
So we may or may not talk about it next month.
I mean, if
We
if it's a
probably
light
should.
Marvel, yeah. If it's a light,
Probably should, just because DC. I can't believe I'm about to say this. DC does deserve its time.
Wow. We just got a major revelation
Sorry, I just got a
there.
little sick saying that.
Was that cathartic for you? Just curious.
It hurt
It hurt?
inside. Like as I was thinking the words, it kind of like my brain like twisted, and it's like, do you realize what you're saying here? Like,
Oh, so more DC
headache
stuff
now.
coming out next month. We have a new release from DC's Black Label. They're doing
Yep.
Harley Quinn,
Mm-hmm.
and that one looks amazing. The cover art's being done by Stefan Sejic, and it
Yep.
looks awesome.
I did like Harley Quinn, especially the arc with Red Tool. It was my
This is not going to be
Favorite
like
DC.
that.
Red Tool.
I know it's not, and I want him to come back, and I know it's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
But
He's still in the comics, right?
yeah, I know.
Still kicking around.
Yeah, but he doesn't have a significant role like he did in that arc, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. I thought it was fantastic, perfect foil to Harley Quinn, and an awesome throw to what Marvel did to Deathstroke.
Yep.
By doing it all over again. But you can't have everything. It was the one thing I liked about the DC comics. And
I haven't read it, but like I'm gonna throw it out there. I don't think they're bringing Red Tool.
I don't. They're probably not going to do that. Despite how much I advocated for it, I told everybody I pushed it, but nobody listens to me.
So Red Tool is officially your favorite
Oh, hands down,
DC
100%.
character.
100%.
Do you even know what his powers are?
He doesn't have powers.
He doesn't have powers.
He doesn't have any powers at all. He is just insane. That's it.
So he's like the guy who joined X-Force in Deadpool 2
Kind of.
at the beginning there.
Yeah.
What are your powers?
No, I just saw the ad.
I just saw the ad. You're hired.
Come on board. We don't have really high standards when it comes to hiring practices.
So that's all we have for you this month here on Comic Shop Talk. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we look forward to bringing you some more craziness, zaniness, and maybe some more Red Tool next month if he gets his way.
Come on, DC.
Probably not going to happen.
I will begin advocating for your comics more heavily if you just give me a little Red Tool. Just a little bit. All right? Give him like a one shot, maybe. Help me out. I will buy every single issue. I don't mean like every numbered issue. I mean I will buy the full stack of number ones off of the shelf of every
Black
comic store.
label Red Tool.
Just do
Could
it.
you
Just do it
imagine
for
how
me.
gritty
I will
and just-
never badmouth DC ever again. Just give me this one thing.
That'd be off the chain.
I can
Pretty
say
sure
that
you
because
can
I know it's
afford
never
that?
gonna happen.
Red Tool solo series.
I don't have to be able to afford it. I play the waiting game because I'll be the only one buying it.
I can't wait until this mini actually
Wait
comes
until
out.
it's like-
Dude, this mini series is actually probably going to come out at some point. I can't wait because of you.
I'm gonna be so excited. I'm gonna be so excited when that happens. And of course, I won't be able to talk smack about DC anymore.
Nope.
But at that point, they'll maybe get their crap together, and I won't have to.
So thank you all for watching. We appreciate it. And until next time, guys.
Later.
All right, that's a wrap, gentlemen.
I could go for a ride.